Welcome staff and students of CPA to our virtual ceremony for the Orange Shirt Day. Created on unceded traditional territories and lands of the Mi'kmaq people. My name is Lulu, and this is my other MC, Cameron. And we have the honor of being your MCs for our virtual ceremony today. We came to be involved with Orange Shirt Day because we're passionate about creating understanding about the impacts of trauma, promoting safe healing, and sharing understanding about the intergenerational effects of trauma.
Orange Shirt Day is an opportunity for Indigenous peoples, local government, schools, and communities to come together in the spirit of reconciliation and hope for generations of children to come. September 30th was chosen because of the time of year in which children were taken from their homes to residential schools. I'm happy to say that tomorrow, September 30th, 2021, will be recognized as Orange Shirt Day.
I feel incredibly grateful to meet you all today and gather in a beautiful place known as Quebec to the Mi'kmaq First Nations. Before I begin this afternoon, I'd like to recognize the Mi'kmaq First Nations on whose traditional territory we stand today and acknowledge them as the past, present, and future caretakers of this land, rich in forest and ridges that preserve Mi'kmaq petroglyphs. And as we feel the gratitude, we also grapple with it. We are committed to the struggles as I attempt to decolonize our learning journeys and explore the ways to work in solidarity with Mi'kmaq people who call Quebec home and value Mi'kmaq ways of knowing and being. Open your hearts and feet will follow.
Je suis incroyablement reconnaissante d'avoir la chance de vous parler aujourd'hui en ce jour de reconnaissance dans un endroit magnifique connu sous le nom de Quebec pour la Première Nation Mi'kmaq. Avant de commencer, j'aimerais reconnaître que nous sommes situés sur le territoire ancestral de la Première Nation Mi'kmaq et aussi reconnaître leur rôle en tant que gardiens passés, présents et futurs de cette terre riche en forêt et en crêtes qui préserve les pétroglyphes Mi'kmaq. Je m'engage dans cette lutte alors que j'essaie de décoloniser mon école et de trouver des moyens de démontrer ma solidarité avec la population Mi'kmaq qui habite Quebec et qui valorise les façons Mi'kmaq de savoir et d'être. Ouvrez votre cœur et les pieds suivants.
We all know the color orange. We also all know there's this day once a year where we're supposed to wear these orange shirts. But why? What does this color mean, and why do we wear these shirts? What is the significance to us and to the First Nations of Canada? This is what I'm going to tell you today. We wear the color orange because of the experiences of a residential school survivor named Phyllis Webstad. When Phyllis was only 6 years old, she was forced to attend St. Joseph's Mission Residential School in British Columbia. However, before she was to attend, her grandmother took her to the store to buy a bright, new, shiny orange shirt. Phyllis was excited to attend the first day of school in this brand new shirt. However, upon arrival, all of her belongings, including the shirt, were taken from her, and she would never see the orange shirt again. She was then made to feel like she was nothing, neglected, abused, for 300 sleeps. Phyllis remembers that at night, all the students would cry for home, wanting to go back to where they felt loved. This story may seem difficult to hear. However, unfortunately, there are thousands of other victims with stories just like hers. Fortunately, Phyllis was eventually able to return home to her grandmother, unlike so many others. Today, as the executive director of the Orange Shirt Society, Phyllis uses her platform to raise awareness about Orange Shirt Day and to turn the feeling of no one cares into feelings of hope and remembering every child matters.
It can be easy to think that Truth and Reconciliation Day is a day about Indigenous peoples or Indigenous history, and that couldn't be further from the truth. This is a day about our shared colonial history and the ways in which Indigenous peoples have been harmed and continue to be harmed by colonization, racism, and discrimination. I invite all non-Indigenous peoples who now call these lands your homes to reflect and commit to one action you will take to advance reconciliation.
Today I will be reading the poem I Lost My Talk by Rita Jones. I lost my talk, the talk you took away, when I was a little girl at Shubenacadie School. You snatched it away. I speak like you, I think like you, I create like you. The scrambled ballad about my word. Two ways I talk, both ways I say. Your way is more powerful. So gently I offer my hand and ask, let me find my talk, so I can teach you about me.
If you throw something no good into the river, it touches everything along the way. The indigenous nations have been contaminated by hate, pain, and aggression, and until we clean up that river, we will always be stuck in that really bad place. If you want to participate in Truth and Reconciliation Day, you need to listen to the stories of the survivors, as they've experienced enough pain to last them 3 lifetimes. And it is through these stories that we gain a deeper sense of empathy and understanding for all the survivors of this cultural genocide.
So as a storyteller and as a poet, I will leave you all with what I do best, a poem entitled Eduaptamang. I lost my talk, said Rita Jo. For me, I was never given the option to know, to feel the flow of the words as they rolled off my tongue, giving me the lyrics of how our world was sung. My perspective was spun using the threads of both your world and theirs, left to cobble together a spirit from rags and tears, painfully aware that I was different. Through hard work and determination, I found my indigenous articulation, a compilation of 2 ways makes up the sum of me. You have 2 eyes, yet you only have 1 view. Your way is best, you would argue. Centuries of being in position to subdue those who would aspire. They say the sun never set on the British Empire, and because we recognize the hubris that defines your story, we have both a sunrise and a sunset in our territory. With my heart and eyes, I have a completely different view. The consequence of my skin comes in an entirely different hue. Don't you see? Although you represent us, we think very differently than you because we see the world not through 1 set of eyes, but through 2. Thousands of years long, we were independent, proud, and strong. We belong to this earth. The way power belongs to money and privilege to birth, we put our communities first. But then came the fleets, filled with those you would ironically define today as come from away to invade every inch of our world, to break our spirits and pull the threads that would unfurl us, to catch the way you speak. But this is not a poem for the retelling of a one-sided history. Each of our worlds has their strengths. Yours is in power. It gets to eat its cake and define race. It has the ability to unapologetically take up space if societal progress is linear. This society is top tier, terra nullius, as though we were never here. It must be nice to be so confident. This society is ubiquitous, built on reified rubrics of tradition and rhetoric. Your notions of diversity are ad hoc in nature, an afterthought feature to an immovable structure. But this is not a conviction nor an acquittal. Just the voice coming from an eye trained to be critical. And if you push the 2 sides of our Venn diagram together, you'll get our circle. We were never meant to be static like the rivers around us. We shift and change and remain dynamic. We bring something to the table that is able to change your worldview and show you what we are capable of, that a lot can come from a holistic concept of the earth. You are not a plague, nor we a curse or a problem in need of a solution, and we've got to rid ourselves of the spiritual dissolution, the dilution of our treaties written to share this land. And I ask that you understand that we are the experts on what we need. Don't feed us your good intentions. Carefully laid apologies will not get you an historical exemption. We plan our actions for the next 7 generations, and we invite you to do the same. Open your other set of eyes. Take a pause. And start breathing. Welcome to the world of 2-eyed seeing. Thank you. Walalia.
the residential school system took away my language, my culture, and my identity. And I attended Bishop Horton Hall Indian Residential School, and I also went to Chinwalk Hall Residential School in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. What happened to me was I was physically abused by a supervisor. We were told not to pass food around in the dining room to other students, and I got caught passing the slice of bread, and I was severely punished by the supervisor. I became an alcoholic around 20 years of age. People are left with a sense of belonging. You want to find your sense of belonging and identity. First, I had to sober up. I've been sober for 25 years. So I went back to my traditions, my culture, and that's where I found my identity. I think the non-Indigenous people or Canadians need to become allies, settler allies with First Nations, Indigenous people, and learn about the history of the true history of Canada. Yeah.
We believe Orange Shirt Day is very important because it gives us an opportunity to talk to people and show them that healing can happen. We want to inspire people to want to be a part of this movement, and not just Indigenous people. The non-Indigenous community is starting to become aware of what happened to these 150,000 children, and the healing will start slowly, but gradually when we start to learn to trust each other. Orange Shirt Day will give us an opportunity to use our voices in an equal way once again.
We painted 139 rocks with the names of each residential school here on Turtle Island and their death toll. Cheetahs for Change has made a commitment to condemn the insidious crimes committed by the residential schools and to resuscitate the memory of the children who never made it home. We planted a weeping willow tree in CPA's courtyard as a metaphor of atonement combined with an aspiration to plant the roots of justice and pave the road to reconciliation. We invited Elder Albert Marshall and his daughter to CPA, and they gave our project their blessing.
My name is Michelle Marshall Johnson. It's my name, not my whole name. So I work with an organization that is called Mi'kmaq Inama'kuwei, and it's an education authority office because we realize that now our First Nations are struggling with language. Language is everything. Language is our values, customs, traditions, everything. Without that, how can I say that I'm a proud Mi'kmaq if I don't understand my own language? So to fully understand another language, I have to fully understand my own. And our students in the 12 communities in Nova Scotia struggle with it. Whether it be residential school, whether it be centralization, whether it be foster care, whatever reason. We know what the reasons are, but we as a community, and it's our responsibility as parents and grandparents to make sure that our children have our language. But most parents want the best quality education for their children. What parent does not want? And a lot of parents felt that if I teach my children English, they won't have the struggles that they have from having residential or for whatever reasons we all know.
We hold the survivors in our hearts. We hold them with our arms. We hold them in love. We hold them for their courage, and this year, we are not able to come together in the same way. And so to the survivors of the residential schools, I hope there are other ways that you are being helped and supported and loved today.
As we bring this ceremony to a close, I invite you to spend time in reflection. We encourage you to feel empowered to support, to embody empathy, and commit to healing and change. Thank you for your time and attention in participating in our first virtual honoring and commemoration of Orange Shirt Day from a safe social distance.
I would like to acknowledge and thank everyone involved for their tireless commitment to Orange Shirt Day. Thank you, my dear friends, for your help throughout the year, bringing awareness, understanding, and promoting healing, empathy, and dialogue as a helpful path forward. Wilalan,